Tokenmetrics is a cryptocurrency investment platform that helps users leverage machine learning to become better crypto investors. Our in-depth analysis helps eliminate the emotions of investing, find profitable investment opportunities, and filters out scams. Learn more at tokenmetrics.com.
We are live. Welcome to the Tokenmetrics Monday live stream. Silent Sandal, Taz, crypto student, welcome. Not a moment too soon to bring two of your friendly neighborhood crypto analysts to you to help you after this sort of debacle over the weekend. So if you need to make money in crypto and you need a roadmap in crypto, or you're just wrecked and need help, then like and subscribe to this channel. Like and subscribe to tokenmetrics.com, where we have what? Real analysts. And there's nothing like volatility to drive demand for real analysts. Speaking of real analysts, I'm joined by my colleague, Forrest. Sir, welcome to the stream.
Hey, Bill. In case you were wondering, no, I'm not looking down playing Candy Crush. I'm actually on the live stream here on my phone, and I'm hitting the share button. Of course, I liked the stream first, but I'm sharing this out on Twitter, and we'd be so appreciative if you guys do the same. But now that I've shared that, let me just jump into the agenda here today. Tokenmetrics live stream. Can ETH flip Bitcoin? We think so, and we've thought that for a long time. This is not the first content we have put out on ETH potentially flipping Bitcoin. It just so happens that there's a trend going on right now that makes it possible sooner than we originally thought. There's been a lot of talk about ETH potentially flipping Bitcoin next market cycle, but the way things are going right now, maybe it's sooner than you think, and maybe sooner than we originally thought. Subscribe today at tokenmetrics.com if you have not already. If you already are a customer, thank you so much. And if you want to interact with this live stream, go to www.menti.com and use the code 7537-5895. 7537-5895 is the Menti code. You can find it in the description below. All right, so the agenda today is the market update with Bill. I'm going to talk about ETH Bitcoin. We're going to do a little crypto showdown, and then we're going to wrap it up with Altcoin Overtime and maybe answer a couple questions at the end of the live stream. So as I mentioned, if you want to interact with this live stream for Crypto Showdown and put in some questions for the Q&A session, if we get to the Q&A session, then use the code 7537-5895 at menti.com. And with that, let's jump over to Bill with the market update.
All right, people. Here comes market update. Flip it. That's right. Flip it. Not this market cycle, the end of the market cycle. The climactic end, or the climactic blow off top, I should say. So let's talk about how ETH can flip Bitcoin. Our CEO, Ian Bellina, said this on CNBC a while back, not that long ago. And me and Forrest have got the case for ETH to flip Bitcoin. Now, let's first by talking about legacy and stocks. On Friday, sort of just in time, I got out a warning about stocks and Bitcoin, right? They made this thing called the Wyckoff topping formation, which is essentially sideways to higher, down, and then down in English, right? S&P futures, ES1, are following this almost to the T. Keep in mind, on Friday, the inflation numbers are out. So the market is going to get a look at an inflation number that could be between 6 and 7%. And if it's worse than you think, the Fed is going to be on the warpath on inflation. I think the Fed is a bigger risk to markets, equities, and Bitcoin than the virus is. That's sort of my weekend conclusion. Now, let's jump over to ARK Investments. ARK is a company run by Cathie Woods. She's essentially a famous speculator, okay, particularly in, stocks like Tesla and software companies. She's famous. Some people like her, some people don't, but it's hard to argue with ETFs that go from 40 to 180. Now, ARKW, which is the next generation fund ETF that they have, holds 8% Bitcoin. They hold it through GBTC. Now, as I look at this chart and as I look at what's going on in equities, what's happened in altcoins, what's happened to the version of altcoins inside equities, because if you're wrecked, and I know everyone's wrecked, they're actually wrecked in legacy. Now, let me just point this out. In legacy, when speculators get wrecked, they start hedging. They start selling because the holidays are coming and it's really tough to get caught long Bitcoin because, again, everybody, and I mean everybody, is long Bitcoin. So I call this the bowling ball out of a window formation where, it's like out the window, hits the ledge, and done. And these ARK investment trusts, or these ETFs rather, especially the ones that hold Bitcoin and Tesla, I have serious concerns that these things could drop a lot between now and the end of the year. Now, what does that mean exactly for people in crypto? So let's review what I just talked about. Inflation could be a problem. The Fed might be, not propping up equities anymore. And a lot of people in legacy own Bitcoin. So what are they going to do? Well, they're either going to dump the Bitcoin or they're going to sell CME legacy futures. They're going to hedge. They're just going to say, oh, I can't lose money in this, or I'm not going to get killed over Christmas. I'm just going to sell now. So if you're wondering what happened on Friday night, it's everybody in the crypto market, running in fear of the 800-pound gorillas coming in sometime before the end of the year. And everybody in crypto just said, I'm out. Now, back to the charts. So at 49K back in May, when we had sell in May and go away, there was a big down move. It paused around 49.50, and then it just fell apart. Now, in crypto, maybe it holds and goes up to 52. I don't know. But this, to me, looks like a repeat of what happened in May in Bitcoin. Okay, now keep in mind, that's relevant because Bitcoin is an over-owned asset. In other words, if everyone's doing the same thing, frequently it's wrong. Now, this comes from tokenmetrics.com, our sponsor. It's the visual trends indicator that will give you buy and sell signals, okay, based on a variety of things from technical analysis to things out of a finance textbook. Now, in the past, when you've had a sell signal in Bitcoin, when you got that sell signal in May, and then Bitcoin actually followed through. So when I went back and looked at this, the sell signal in Bitcoin was actually around Thanksgiving, right? And then it just sat there. But then obviously it followed through. So what am I telling you? This is more evidence that Bitcoin is acting the way it did back in May. Now, Wyckoff, we were talking about this in equities, right? It's kind of like down, sideways, down, down. Okay, on the Wyckoff chart, it's called phase E. Feel free to get into the weeds if you want to on this. Wyckoff worked back in May. Wyckoff is still working now. Okay, I would say that if this pans out, you're probably looking at Bitcoin either at 39 or 35K at best. Frankly, that's the good scenario for Bitcoin, given all these other pressure points in the market. Now, let's stop the doom and gloom, chill out and say, all right, well, there are people out there that might sell Bitcoin. Let's keep it at that, right? Now, there's also a chart that, frankly, is incredible. It shows a head and shoulders bottom in the relationship between Ethereum and Bitcoin. And as I'm sure you've noticed, as Bitcoin fell apart, ETH basically hung around 4K. Yeah, there was a wick down, but ETH came straight back. And if you look at the ETH chart, you can't even really notice that there was a down move. So we've been talking about this till I'm just out of breath for all year long, that ETH versus Bitcoin is going to break out. Well, now ETH versus Bitcoin has not only broken out on a daily basis, but it's also, I think, breaking out on a weekly basis, which could trigger this huge up move in the relationship between ETH and Bitcoin. Now, don't go anywhere. Hit like and subscribe because you want to be here when Forrest gives you the numbers of what can happen if Bitcoin goes down and then ETH goes up, or in whatever order it happens. So I'm painting a picture of Bitcoin down, ETH up, and Forrest will actually give you more in-depth scenario analysis. But my work shows Bitcoin down, ETH up. So let's talk about the ETH up part to stay upbeat, because we are still pro crypto, obviously, right? We're all pro crypto. Ethereum shows it could probably get to 4,300 at a minimum. Ethereum is also traveling in an expanding triangle, an expanding range. Recently, Ethereum on that wick down to 3,500 kind of punched through the bottom, and it came right back. So what does that mean? Well, when something breaks out of the bottom of a formation and then comes back in, it's a false breakdown, which normally triggers a break out of the top end of the formation. So you're looking at this chart and you're saying, Bill, are you telling me ETH could take out 5,000? And I'm like, yes, I am telling you that. I'm telling you that ETH can take out 5,000. I'm telling you that that Bitcoin could puke to 3,500 and then ETH could take out 5K, period. It's as simple as that. In other words, everyone this year gave up on ETH. Everyone this year bought Bitcoin and bought everything but ETH. And wouldn't it be funny if the last 3 weeks of the year saw like the revenge of Ethereum? Let's go to Polkadot. Now we're going to be talking about big layer ones, where support and resistance is, and what it feels like for me personally to be analytically wrecked on some of these charts I was looking at. So if you had told me 2 weeks ago Polkadot was going to 24, I'd be like, well, gee, that'd be great. But I don't think I'm going to go on the air and say, hey, everybody, Polkadot's going to 24. It just wouldn't occur to me. But Polkadot has fallen to 24. Polkadot hung around 24 in June before doing some kind of climactic 2-month process where it washed everyone out. So I guess all I can say is I hope 24 in Polkadot holds if there's another flush lower in Bitcoin. Now, if 24 doesn't hold in Polkadot and there is this flush in Bitcoin to 35K, that's an opportunity to pick it up, that and other altcoins. In other words, Forrest will say it. Okay, I'll say it a different way. You want to think value investing, like outside of ETH, which may, hopefully holds above 3,500. But I think in the altcoin universe, you want to think value investing. So if they want to sell you Polkadot at 24 or lower, that's when you look at it. Now let's talk about the metaverse. All right, so the good news is I got part of the up move right. And then I was a little clumsy about when do you buy the dip? Okay. No, I got the dip because everybody, when Decentraland was at 5.5, if I said you'd be able to get Decentraland below 3, that would have sounded funny. Now somebody did get Decentraland below 3, and it's sitting on chart support at 337. Now it's just a guess, but if there's a delay in the drop in Bitcoin, in other words, if Bitcoin doesn't do its drop until the end of the year, there could be a trading play on the upside in things like ETH, Decentraland, and Sandbox. So you can lean on support at 337 in Decentraland if you want to do a 2-week trade. Not hodl for the rest of your life, but do a 2-week trade. Because if the 2-week trade works out, okay, then you can maybe hold on to it. But I think you should take a short-term approach when buying the dip in any altcoin, really, outside of, say, ETH and the big layer ones. I think big cap metaverse is also included in that area. But as I said, when metaverse was going up, use risk management, protect yourself, stay tuned for Altcoin Overtime. I'll show you a couple charts as to why risk management is important. Sandbox. Wow. Okay. Got out at 8 and they wicked it down to 4 and they're sitting here at 5. My guess is that, if Sandbox is going to go up, you've maybe got anywhere from 3 days to 2 weeks to take advantage of a rally. If you don't want to deal with that and you just want to sort of wait for the flush lower in Bitcoin or buy it right at the end of the year, I'm okay with that too. I am. I'm okay with that. So you can trade it now and invest in it later, maybe the strategy you employ. Now, some more on Sandbox and some more on why ETH is holding so well. According to data that we've got, there were at least $3 million in NFT sales, okay, looking at digital land in the Sandbox universe. I think people are running out of Bitcoin and into like what they perceive to be safe haven or non-correlated. That means they don't have a mathematical relationship with Bitcoin and stocks. So they're looking at art, okay, Bored Ape, Sandbox, etc., all trading much higher like these NFT projects. People are flooding in to something other than Bitcoin. So that's ETH, NFTs, art, and metaverse. Now, the Kraken Weekly Exchange Index, the Kraken indices that can be found at tokenmetrics.com have been extremely helpful on the way up in terms of finding good coins to invest in, trade, and hopefully, with good risk management, not get killed in. So interestingly, after all the volatility at the end of last week, what is the Kraken Index RAI looking at? ETH, Sandbox, Decentraland, and Aavegotchi. Okay? So ETH and big cap metaverse is where our AI wants to be, and ETH and big cap metaverse is probably where the trade is over the next 2 weeks, assuming the decline in Bitcoin takes a couple of days to manifest. Now, on the subject of ETH, let's just go with the idea that, after it's all over in Bitcoin and ETH sort of literally flips it, when ETH goes up, is there anything that we can look at that might go with ETH that's out of consensus? So I know that Solana and AVAX, of course, they're great trades. Everyone's doing them. Stay tuned for those charts in a bit. But is there any other insight that we could get? Now, going to tokenmetrics.com, I'm looking at the top 100 big cap coins that have the strongest mathematical relationship or correlation to ETH. And look what's in the list. Binance Coin, FTX. Hey, look at this. Cardano and Elrond. Interesting. A lot of these coins really, really beat up. I mean, Cardano was at 3 and it hit $1.24. So it unwound its entire summer rally. So ironically, if there is a time to actually buy Cardano, it's probably now not investment advice. So if you missed it, this might be the opportunity to take a shot with a stop below $1.20. Not investment advice. Binance Coin. Hey, I picked up on this, right? This thing actually held when the whole market fell apart. And it's just sitting there right underneath, that resistance from back in May. This actually didn't fall apart. Now, Others obviously did, but I'm still interested in Binance Coin. Now, FTX, this coin went from 84 to 41, right? It was kind of that bowling ball that fell out of a window. It went down, it went from 84 to 50 to 70 to 40. Now it's sitting here at 40. It's like, okay, is it going to go to 25? Well, I guess it could if Bitcoin blows up. But if you get an opportunity to pick this up cheap, then this might be something to look at along with all these other coins that I've mentioned. Because again, somewhere in this world, right? Yes, folks, I understand it's difficult, right? You're like, okay, Bitcoin could go down, ETH could go up, the stuff that follows ETH could go up. Yes, right? In other words, you could be at a moment in crypto history, and I want to use tokenmetrics.com to give you some of the best strategic ideas that I can. Now, check this out. Speaking of bargain shopping, Elrond goes from, 280 to 520, and then it goes from 520 back to 240. Hits its 62% retracement level at 242. Now, again, this is what happens when everybody comes in and takes profits at once. And it's an example of make them give you the coins at a discount. So if you missed some of these trades and you've got some ammo over the next 3 weeks, these are, or if there's stuff that you got to get out of and you're like on the next flush lower or on an ETH breakout, these are the coins I'm going to jump into. All right, folks, that's the market update. I know that you might be a little wrecked. So what we're going to try to do is look at the chat and take at least 1 or 2 questions. All right, I see somebody's asking about UFO. Let me see if I can pick up UFO and see what's going on there. All right, I am going to share my screen. Wow, look at this chart. All right, people. All right, I can't necessarily share the chart, so here's what I can tell you. UFO went from, 4 zeros and 5 cents, right? Or 0.0005 to 0.0002. So when you have a metaverse play that gets wrecked that badly, that's the time to either dollar cost average in, or again, think about saying, okay, I'm going to let this stabilize for a day or two. And if Bitcoin falls out of bed at the end of the year and UFO goes down even more, then I'm going to turn around and try to grab it at that point. So just because it's down doesn't mean you have to buy it today because it looks really cheap. But it does mean the fact that it was way up and then falls apart and goes way down. I know, sounds simplistic, but at the end of the year, on Christmas Day in the Western world, would it be funny if you could open up your computer and your phone and the Bitcoin decline puts everything on sale? Something to think about when you plan what you're going to buy and what you're going to sell headed into the end of the year. Forrest, are you out there?
I'm here, Bill.
All right. We are going to turn this over to Forrest now. He is going to go through the Ethereum versus Bitcoin scenario analysis. Folks, don't go anywhere. Forrest, take it away.
All right. So this market crash, while it feels like altcoins have just gotten destroyed, I want to start out by just showing you guys the altcoin dominance chart. Right? This altcoin dominance is just the percentage of the total cryptocurrency market cap that is made up of by altcoins. And altcoin dominance is actually doing extremely well, despite the fact that the overall cryptocurrency market cap has fallen. That is very strange, and it does not happen very often. So let's take a brief trip back in time to August of 2019, where we had this pattern, this big expanding running triangle pattern that usually ends up being extremely bullish, and in this case did manifest as bullish price action or bullish action for altcoin dominance. Then Bitcoin crashed. But in May, actually, let me get rid of that. In May, when Bitcoin crashed, what happened to altcoins when Bitcoin crashed? What happened to altcoins? Altcoin dominance crashed as well. Altcoins got destroyed, right? And then fell into this consolidation pattern. Well, we've broken out of this consolidation pattern, and it's because despite Bitcoin falling, ETH is holding up the rest of the market. In terms of total cryptocurrency market cap, we're only down 28%, give or take. I want to take you to down another trip back in time to the previous market cycle, where halfway through the market cycle, in terms of total cryptocurrency market cap, over the course of several weeks, right, 4 or 5 weeks here of red candles that ultimately bled down 40+% in terms of total cryptocurrency market cap, followed by a new all-time high, right? And then followed by 2 more weeks of red candles that were 45% downswings. So everyone's freaking out and screaming bear market, bear market, bear market, despite the fact we're only down 22% in total cryptocurrency market cap. And the reason we're only down 22% is because ETH, which makes up a large portion of market cap, of the total cryptocurrency market cap, has actually held on extremely well, right? So ETH price action here, the key support level, this key margin pressure level that we've talked about this on probably every live stream and every episode of Crypto Foresights for the last several months, about $4,000 being a big support level. Yes, we did wick below it when the market panicked, but guess what? There were a ton of buyers waiting in the waters down here to bid Ethereum back up over $4,000. We didn't even come close to closing a daily or a weekly candle below $4,000 here. Right, we're currently pumping up at 4,274, 4,300. Like Ethereum, if we zoom out here, this to me does not look like a bear market at all. This looks like a strong bull market, a very strong uptrend with a little correction, little 17% correction. So while Bitcoin, yes, has been suffering, I think people are just starting to recognize, individuals, retail, and institutions are realizing that Ethereum is significantly undervalued in comparison to Bitcoin, and Bitcoin may be overvalued in comparison to Ethereum, right? So what does that actually mean in terms of ETH versus Bitcoin? Well, we're looking at ETH Bitcoin. That is the price of Ethereum in terms of Bitcoin, meaning this ratio, if you look off to the side here, is 0.086. That just means that one Ethereum is worth 8.6% of one Bitcoin in terms of price. Now, if you'll humor me, we'll go to CoinGecko because it's just the easiest, fastest way to show the total cryptocurrency market cap, or not the total cryptocurrency market cap, but the market cap of Ethereum is $504 billion, while Bitcoin's is $927 billion. So that's roughly $423 billion apart. And that may seem like a large gap to close until you actually start to look at the charts and realize it's not a large gap to close. Bitcoin or Ethereum only has to 2x in value before it flips Bitcoin. And it only has to outperform Bitcoin by roughly 84% for it to flip Bitcoin. Right? And I'll show you how that works out on the chart here. This top line, which I'm about to make bright green, signals the point at which Ethereum flips Bitcoin, right? So if one ETH becomes worth 16% or 15.9% of one Bitcoin, ETH flips Bitcoin. ETH flips Bitcoin at 0.159. Let me simplify it even further. If we see bars go above this level, ETH flips Bitcoin, right? So is that possible? Well, in order for that to happen, this ratio only has to increase. ETH only has to appreciate against Bitcoin by 84%. When's the last time that it appreciated by 84%? Well, earlier this year. In fact, if you take from December 25th, Christmas of 2020, so we'll take it pretty much the first 140 days of 2021, Ethereum appreciated 266% against Bitcoin in 140 days. 144 days, or 140 days, and then Bitcoin just crashed, right? Bitcoin crashed, brought altcoins with it. Now all of a sudden, Bitcoin has crashed again. But instead of bringing ETH with it, instead of bringing the rest of the market with it, yeah, it's brought altcoins with it for the most part, but it hasn't brought ETH with it. ETH has actually been holding strong, causing the ETH Bitcoin ratio to break out higher, right? This last little leg since October 19th, in the last 49 days, the last 7 weeks, in the last 7 weeks, Ethereum's appreciated against Bitcoin 45%. Yet, people want to tell me that ETH can't flip Bitcoin, not in your wildest dreams. No, that's just, ETH could absolutely move 80%. If we take it from right where we're at right now, it's 84% against Bitcoin is all it takes for ETH to flip Bitcoin. And you might be thinking, well, ETH would have to 2x. Not necessarily. ETH doesn't actually have to 2x to flip Bitcoin. If Bitcoin continues to crash and ETH just holds strong, ETH can flip Bitcoin that way as well, right? Let me show you the numbers. I'm going to zoom in here onto this table that I created. And this table, zoom back out just a little bit. This table shows you the price Ethereum has to be at to flip Bitcoin. And I'm actually going to hide this middle one because it just confuses people a little bit. This is the price that Ethereum would have to be at to flip Bitcoin at a corresponding Bitcoin price scenario. So let's just bear with me here. Let's take a trip down this scenario model. If Bitcoin crashes to 30K, and people are going to be like, well, Bitcoin can't crash to 30K. Well, let me just make that argument right now that it absolutely can. And I'm not trying to be super bearish here. I've got tons of TA here, right? So we look at the Bitcoin chart. Look at all this support at 30K. If Bitcoin continues to spew off, where's it going to find support? Probably around 30K. There's actually a very key margin pressure level at 34K. A little bonus nugget there for you guys. 34K is actually pretty strong support for Bitcoin. But if Bitcoin comes down to 30K, what price does Ethereum have to get to in order to flip Bitcoin? $4,778, like $4,800, which Ethereum wouldn't even have to make a new all-time high to flip Bitcoin. Ethereum could flip Bitcoin if Bitcoin just crashes to 30K and ETH holds strong and goes to $4,800. Right now, let's take it the next step up. Well, what if Bitcoin comes down to $40,000? Well, ETH only has to get to $6,371, as we've done the research on ETH this market cycle, and we've got research supporting the idea that ETH can go to $8,000 to $12,000, right? And if the rest of the market if Bitcoin wants to crash and the market just decides that they don't care what Bitcoin's doing, we're still going to hold our ETH because it just seems so valuable, and the supply is just decreasing. Right? With Ethereum 2.0 coming on, the net issuance is going to drop. EIP 1559 is already causing a supply crunch, a net issuance decrease of roughly 80%, 60 to 80% in the net issuance of Ethereum. So if the supply of ETH is just dwindling or barely inflationary, why would you sell your ETH, right? Why would you sell your ETH? Not to mention just the additional utility that Ethereum has. Not only does it have the better deflationary tokenomics that make it a better store of value than Bitcoin, you can actually do more with it. You can get involved with NFTs. You can get involved in DeFi. You can lock it up and stake it and earn yield that way, right? So there's much more incentive to hold ETH than there is to hold Bitcoin, in my opinion. I know a lot of Bitcoin maxis are going to get mad at me, but that's just the truth. And that's what we've been talking about on this channel for a very long time, right? All year long, we've been talking about ETH, right? Even when the market started getting dicey, we're like, ETH, spot ETH. If you're when in doubt, spot ETH. We did like an entire live stream about if you're nervous spot ETH is the place to be, right? Because the supply and the tokenomics and utility are so good. Now, let's just say Bitcoin hangs out around 50K, which is roughly where it's at right now. ETH would have to go to $8,000 to flip it. $8,000 for ETH is at this point, it feels programmed. It feels programmed for ETH to do a little less than a 2x to go to 8K. Bitcoin just holds steady at 50K. All of a sudden, ETH's flipped Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin reclaimed 60K. ETH only has to go to 10,000, not even 10,000, right? We've done the analysis to show that ETH can actually go to 12K. ETH can go to 12K, right? So if Bitcoin recovered to $70,000 and made a new all-time high, that would be extremely bullish. Where's everyone going to hop in? Probably ETH. And ETH could go to 11,149 and flip Bitcoin. So the numbers for ETH to flip Bitcoin, all it takes is people recognizing that just because Bitcoin goes down doesn't mean you have to sell your ETH, right? And we're seeing on the ETH charts, right? We're seeing that when people sell off their ETH, there's people waiting down here to buy it back. This wick just went straight back up, right? So there's anything to kind of take from this is one, if you're not sure where to be, I think ETH is ETH and other big layer ones, but predominantly ETH is a really good spot to be, right? It's kind of like your underground bunker in an apocalypse, right? Is it going to take some shrapnel? Sure, right? ETH could absolutely fall. Maybe it falls to 3,400. I'll tell you right now, I'm a big buyer of 3,400, right? If ETH falls to 3,400, I'm buying, right? We've got support continued all the way down to 2,600 and 2,500 if Bitcoin really takes a hit and tries to drag the rest of the market with it. But I don't want to sell my ETH, and I don't think a lot of other people want to bail on ETH. They've kind of made the decision mentally, if we're going into a bear market, I'm not going to sell my ETH. I'll just hodl through it, right? Well, if everybody just decides to hodl their ETH through the bear market and no one's selling, ETH doesn't go down in price, right? If there's no sellers to drive the market down and everyone's just an ETH hodler, well, it just doesn't go down, right? So yeah, I mean, of course it can go down, but the bull case for ETH right now looks really good. Now, the last piece of analysis I'm going to give you is this 4-hour chart, right? There is a pattern developing on the 4-hour chart that I want to make sure you guys see. And it's a similar pattern to what we saw in altcoin dominance, this expanding running triangle that ended up causing or leading to the altcoin dominance expansion, right? That is an alt season, right? Now on the 4-hour chart, what are we seeing with ETH? We're seeing this same expanding running triangle pattern that could bring ETH to explode, right? And I believe Bill already showed you something very similar to this, but I just wanted to draw it to your attention, right? The target would be like $5,300 for ETH, right? So with that, we are going to jump back into the live stream here. And we're going to jump right into Crypto Showdown. So after and I lost my camera there, it just came unplugged. But after I just kind of talked about ETH, we're going to do Crypto Showdown, and we're going to see where people are most bullish, right? What is your top altcoin pick for December? Are you going into ETH, or are you going to not give up on Solana and AVAX and stay a little bit more exposed to maybe something that could be a little bit more volatile, but maybe even a little bit more rewarding if we do go back into an alt season and see alts separate and detach from Bitcoin? So Bill, what do you have for top altcoin pick for December? What do you have for Crypto Showdown?
Okay, so let's talk about that. I want to do something unusual into the end of the year. So my answer is ETH, and here's why. I want to do the trade that I think everyone else is not doing. So if everybody's been long Bitcoin and buying ETH alternatives, I think those trades are going to come back next year. Okay. But I think in the short term for December, I think it's actually going to be ETH. So I'm going to vote ETH, knowing that, Solana and AVAX are, top of the line coins with cool charts.
I'm going to go ETH too. I mean, how could I go with anything but ETH after the segment I just did and watching it, just like if we cut back over the chart here, just watching it pump, despite the fact that the rest of the market seems to be in shambles, watching it pump off of $4,000, 8% all the way up to $4,300. How do we go with how do we go with anything but ETH here? Yeah. I mean, if we see the market recover, Solana and AVAX, I think will both do extremely well. But I think the safe bet here is probably ETH. So with that, I'm gonna reveal the results here, and hopefully we didn't bias it too much. We got ETH and AVAX. All right, I'm a fan of AVAX, and you can actually get it at a considerable discount compared to recent prices. I think you could have picked it up for $80 recently. All right. Now we have Altcoin Overtime with Bill.
All right. Thank you, Forrest. So before we start Altcoin Overtime, let's sum up what you've heard. If the market goes down, ETH can probably go down a little and Bitcoin could go down a lot. If the market goes up, Bitcoin may go up a little and ETH could go up a lot. Now, when it comes to altcoins, Forrest and I, got together before the stream, and here's the theme. Make them sell you or grab those altcoins at discounted prices, right? Don't FOMO into an altcoin just because you see a green day. So with that said, let's get to Altcoin Overtime. Galaxy Digital, okay, the stock I love to love. 3 or 4 days ago, I noticed that this pattern where it went way up and then crashed looked a lot like May. Okay. And guess what? That actually was accurate. The Galaxy stock actually sounded the alarm bell. So is Galaxy stock done going down? I hope so. But with Bitcoin, it kind of scares me, right? Galaxy was right around this level. And then Galaxy went down and then consolidated and then went down again. So I think that the price action in Galaxy is an ongoing warning about Bitcoin headed into the end of the year. UFO Gaming for Q&A. So we hear you out there. Okay. So we're looking at 232 and 4 zeros is the 62% retracement. So basically, if you missed this whole trade, it's actually come back to where the trade started. So this is a highly speculative play, right? So you may be wrecked in this. And if you are, I feel you. I feel for you because it happened to me back in May, really bad. But the larger point is, if you think you want to build a portfolio of stuff like this, you've got any capital or you've got altcoins that you want to rotate out of, this thing holds the level where it's currently at. It could really, really do well. It's not shocking to see altcoins be stable. So if they want to sell it to you cheap, take it. Okay, Aave, somebody complaining or not complaining, somebody talking about, oh my God, I can't believe how wrecked I am in this blue chip altcoin. Now, here's the reality of DeFi or DeFi 1.0. We think the value that's created from both DeFi, NFTs, and the metaverse all that value is being sucked up into the layer ones, right? So even blue chip coins like Uniswap, Aave, Synthetics, even stuff that we liked like Perp, right? Perp's not totally destroyed, but a lot of these coins have lost sponsorship. That's a legacy term. They've lost sponsorship. Where's the bid? There's nothing but sellers. And where are the buyers? Well, the buyers are buying the layer ones. So I know it's really unfortunate that people were like, oh, I want to own blue chips. But kind of the 2021 pain trade has been layer ones, not only catching everybody off guard when they went up, like Solana, but now these layer ones may be sucking up all the value from the activity on their platforms. VeChain, oh, God, right? Looked like a breakout was going to happen at 17 cents. Support was at 10. and they flushed it out to 8. All I can say is I really hope 8 cents holds. To me, that looks like discount shopping in VeChain. But, if you had told me at 17 cents that a month later it would have been at 8, I don't think I would have agreed with you. So I don't want to be bullish at 17 cents and bearish at 8. I know, not funny. All right. But when it comes to quality in altcoins, be selective in your shopping and be cognizant of the fact that there could be one more down move this year. That could be where you grab ETH. That could be where you grab altcoins. Most important thing to know in the coin that you care about is where is good support. Right now in VeChain, it's either at 8 cents or 4 cents. So if they want to give it to you cheap, make sure you know what the chart point is so you can navigate it accordingly. Okay, SHIB. Actually, a little bit nauseating that, SHIB held up relatively well versus everything else. Okay, the 62% retracement is at 37.05. That's with 4 zeros. So SHIB is not doing anything great, but honestly, it's not doing anything terrible either relative to everything else. That said, please be aware of tax loss selling into the end of the year in these meme coins. Kind of everyone's forgotten about Doge. Some people ask about SHIB. A lot of people may have bought this coin at the top. And there may be incentives for people to take losses in these coins at the end of the year. Something you had to be careful of in Bitcoin and crypto in both 2018 and 2019. Okay, there were big down moves or notable down moves in December because people just go, I'm done. Okay, I'm taking the tax loss and I'll see you next year. Okay, Chili's. Some shocking price action in some of these NFT marketplace coins, mainly I think because people have flooded into NFTs themselves, fearing declines in stocks and Bitcoin, right? Art is not normally correlated to, say, stocks, right? So if stocks go down, art will hold its value. Now, that you would think that would be good for NFT marketplace coins, but it's probably better for the NFTs themselves, at least at the moment. So you have Chili's getting wiped out, and I would think that this coin would be good if it could get back above, say, 36 or 37 cents. So I don't know that you want to be catching the falling knife, okay, unless they're offering it to you at just such a discount, it's unbelievable, right? In this particular coin, I'd actually wait for the recovery before getting involved. People asking about ACH, so hopefully you're still with us. We do hear you in the comments. Okay, ACH at 0.06, 6 cents. All right, that's where the most recent decline stopped. And again, with this, you have to ask yourself, this had a nice narrative. It was connected to QNT at the start of the year. Is this an example of a coin that had a story or had a blip, and then it ran out of gas because all the value went somewhere else, right? The value of payments, DeFi, all of that seems to have gone to, say, Olympus, right? Or DeFi on Avalanche. So these narratives for a lot of these Coinbase altcoins, they got eaten up by other plays. Okay, Audius, something very near and dear to our heart. It's traded in a range between $1.80 and $3. Support was at 176, and currently they're making it really difficult, okay, by pushing Audius below support. So, if you're in Audius for the next 5 years, or you want to pick up additional Audius, they've sort of discounted it substantially by taking it from $3 to $1.75. Now, one point that we may have to acknowledge regarding coins like Audius is that Audius may join the list of altcoins where the value of all the cool things that's done on it is captured by things like Avalanche, Solana, and ETH. But certainly over time, we continue to think Audius is a unique play. Just right now, it's trading below support on a chart. Speaking of below support, getting a lot of questions about perp. Now, just to sort of back everybody up for a second, in the last decline, perp went to 3 and then went to 25. Is that going to repeat itself? Probably not, right? Perp is below support at 14. Perp can recover and has recovered in down markets. Most likely, perp is something that you've either got to hodl long-term because you believe in this theme about decentralized derivatives, right? Or you've got to stake it and continue to just build up those high rewards as trading fees get paid to stakers. So, not investment advice, but I don't know that perp is the quick money upside play. It's not the 5x play anymore. It's more like a defensive way to pick up yield, okay, and have some sort of option on future upside. Because in perp versus DYDX, it looks like perp may have the better value proposition from what I can tell on Twitter, okay? The bottom line is perp is below support, so we don't hate it, but clearly, if you're expecting a 5x out of this, you need to rethink your strategy into the end of the year. Now, let's get to something that's, seems like a little clearer on charts. So this is Avalanche, right? You've been probably sitting there going, gee, are we ever going to get to Avalanche and Solana? Yes, getting to it right now. So Avalanche and Solana, please hit the like button if you like Avalanche and Solana. Last week, I drew 125. I said I thought it was going to go to 150, and I said if it went down, it might go to 75. Now, I draw these things on charts, but I really didn't think Avalanche was going to go to 75. I saw the Bitcoin thing, and I draw these things on charts, and this is something that happens in crypto. And you're not the only one. Or who knows, maybe I'm the only one, I don't know. But I draw these things on charts, and then I call this up and go, oh my God, AVAX went to 76. It actually went down there. So AVAX is kind of hanging around 90. There's room for it to go to 125 again. I don't know if it's got that kind of gas or got that kind of legs. But, remember, we're sort of talking about this weird game where at some point Bitcoin's going to go down and at some point ETH's going to go up. That's how that flippening, as they say on YouTube, occurs. Now, I'm just guessing that if ETH, during the ETH takeoff period, Avalanche is going to follow along. The layer ones they're going to take value, take market share, take market cap, potentially away from Bitcoin. It's not that we hate Bitcoin, folks. We like Bitcoin. It turned out to be the future of money. So the question is, what price should it trade at? What price should it trade out, given that, it's almost it's a legacy asset now. It's not just crypto. It's moved by big players. Now, Avalanche, on the other hand, is not. Avalanche is something that sort of like the hardcore crypto crowd totally understands, gets, which means Avalanche may have bottomed at 76 and may take off for 150. Because remember, Avalanche has also shown a propensity for going up when the market was either sideways or down. So if you feel like you missed out on Avalanche, use a stop. If they want to give it to you cheaper than 75, great. But obviously, this is like a discounted sale and something that's clearly got a future. Now, it's a little bit more complicated, but Solana. So we were talking about Solana and venture capitalists having big bags that they had to sell. And then I decided that venture capitalists weren't going to sell and Solana was going to go to 280. And then Solana went down and went to 180. Now, the good news is that's support. And the other piece of good news, I think, is that you're not the only one who gets wrecked or gets it wrong in this market. I know it feels like you're the only one, But that's not true. It's not. It's crypto. We're all in this together. And I want you to remember that. So as I look at Solana, I'm like, okay, well, I'm really glad that 180 held. That's good. But if these venture capitalists don't cave and don't sell, Solana could go back to 255. Now, remember this. If Solana runs into selling pressure, simple profit taking, that's probably, that capital could move into either Avalanche or into ETH. So the trade all year was Solana. But one of the things I'm trying to tell you is that the trades that worked all year may not be the trades that work in the last 3 weeks of the year. So yes, Avalanche has done well, but Avalanche and ETH seem to have more upside than any other coin that I can draw up. Now, there was a lot of pain in XRP in the chats prior to this decline. So my heart goes out to these people. I know it was kind of like a rebel against the government type of trade, but the fact of the matter is the Fib circle analysis worked. The resistance at $1 was strong. The good news is buyers did react and there was support down at 57 cents. Most likely in XRP, 57 cents to 90 or 60 to 90 cents is probably the range for the foreseeable future, you know, notwithstanding some sort of legal positive catalyst. Casper, okay, the most wrecked trade of the year. Possibly the most wrecked trade I've ever seen in crypto ever, based on, you know, the sort of the fundamental and the technical computer science aspects of this, the enthusiasm for when it came out, and the level of the crash that followed. Now, when I've covered this in previous altcoin overtimes, people in Casper were like, hey, is this done? And I was like, well, maybe, but let's wait to see if green candles show up. Let's wait to see if on a dip, like we know sellers are trying to get out, but let's see if there's someone underneath. And lo and behold, on 2 terrible down days in the market, there's green candles in Casper. Wouldn't it be funny if Casper mooned into the end of the year? If everyone who was going to sell it already sold it. Now, I know that's probably a little bit too bold, but it really would be ironic or confirmation that the stuff that, you know, we're about to enter this world where things flip around. We talked about ETH flipping Bitcoin. We talked about things that did well, maybe not doing so well. We talked about things that are under-owned, getting, you know, more buyers, more people coming in. That's Avalanche. Stuff that got wrecked, that's, you know, that has a story. Casper coming back. Okay, speaking of stories that got wrecked, wow, is this annoying, right? There was this whole dance between 8 and 9, and I was like, wah, 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 about near, and then the thing turns around and goes to 6. I could have been like, yeah, you know what? Just hang out in near, wait for the market to get wrecked and pick it up at the 62% retracement right around 6. That way, when the layer 1 rally starts and everybody who was long near is stopped out and has given up, near is going to go to 20 because everyone liked it. Everyone was long it. Everyone got stopped out. So what happens when it turns? Now or at the end of the year? Right? In other words, you have to ask yourself. It's like what Forrest told me before the stream. Make them give it to you at discounted prices. Well, if 8 or 9 was support and they're giving it away at 6, and you see that again, not investment advice, but the layer 1s are what's going to capture value from Bitcoin. So it's not that we love anything or hate anything. We don't. It's crypto. We love everybody. We like it. We like you no matter what coin you're a fan of. But the question is, where is the value going to get transferred to in a weird environment where the Fed, the virus, and risk assets could really be volatile on a day-to-day basis, headed into a holiday period where nobody wants to be annoyed. That's what happened in something like Near. People were like, oh, you know what? I love this, but I'm stopped out. I'm done. They just gave up. They gave up. And I never honestly would have thought that you would have looked at this and gone, oh, yeah, just wait for him to puke it down to 6. Nobody thought that. That's why it happened. Nobody thought that. Okay. Now, Vulcan. Oh, my God. Can you believe this thing? Thank God during the metaverse trade, we talked about using risk management. This is unbelievable. From 8 to 20, from 20 to 48, and then from 48, a wick down to 18. I mean, I understand. And if you bought the dip underneath 48, I understand your pain. This happened to me in a coin called Alpha, where I had it staked. Alpha went from like $2 to 30 cents. The way Vulcan went from 48 to 20. Just disappeared. So I get it. Now, if Vulcan is a high quality metaverse play, and you've still got people who are selling it, or you've got people who, may give up on this thing, you may be able to get this at 18 or 20. I don't know that you have to come in and pay up really for any of these metaverse coins. You can trade them for the next 2 weeks. But if we're expecting say one last drop in Bitcoin before there's the huge rally in ETH, maybe that gives you a chance to get in on Vulcan, right? Because this decline was so fast. I think the reason it was so fast is because, people didn't have time to get out. So I know this is painful, anybody for who's got this trade. But at the end of the day, some of these metaverse plays into the end of the year, it may be like an after Christmas or after holiday sale. Speaking of after holiday sale, RMRK, I'm looking at a short-term chart encouraging that 36 held. So this was at 68. Our fundamental analysts have targets for this at either 75 or above 100, not investment advice. So because this is a small and mid-cap coin, you may have people out there looking to buy any and every dip in this. So it may bounce, and then if there's a decline in Bitcoin later, I think that's going to be the true test as to whether or not the fundamental story in this is real. In other words, I mean, I know it's real. I know the guy who did it. I saw the analysis, and so did our premium customers. So let me just clarify that. But the case for this coin, if the market believes it, the low will probably be in now. And if Bitcoin falls apart again, or if there's a decline in stocks and RMRK doesn't fall below 36, then it's on in this coin. Now, if it does fall below 36, it might go to 28. All right. And if you're looking to pick up stuff, or you still got capital, or you're looking to move things from one place to the other, those are some scenarios. So let me repeat that. So if the market believes this coin's for real, okay, it probably won't make a new low below 36 on a drop in Bitcoin. So if it does, well, then you may be able to pick it up at 28. Either way, the market is going to tell you when and if this fundamental metaverse narrative is ready to take off. I also think you should be using this coin as like your metaverse bellwether. I think this is like the Galaxy Digital of the metaverse. This and Sandbox, right? So you watch what happens here. You trade the metaverse off how this coin behaves. It's your new bellwether. Illuvium. God. Thought this thing was breaking out above 1,700, and it comes back to a prior ceiling around 1,265. Could this go all the way down to 1,000? Yeah, it could. But I don't want to be the guy that was like, hey, let's grab it at 1,600 and be the guy that says, okay, now let's sell it at 1,200. I think when it comes to stuff like this, you want to say, all right, so maybe I bought it at the wrong price, but where is the point where I either want to buy more Or where is the point where I'm going to stop out and come back in 30 days? Right? This seems to be high quality. But that said, in our AI and our indices, I'm seeing Sandbox and Decentraland more than I'm seeing Illuvium. So that doesn't mean anything right now because it's on good support around 1265. Bottom line is between 1265 and 1009 is a zone where if you've got the capital, you want to look at this coin. Because if it's Bitcoin down and then ETH and layer ones up, these big cap metaverse coins, if they already aren't on sale, if there's a further markdown, you definitely want to be there. You want to be there. Okay, Phantom. Oh my God. Phantom. This thing was at like 2 something. I'm like, it could go to 4 something. And I look at this chart and I'm like, Phantom went to $1.42. It went to the 62% retracement of the whole moon for the year. Speechless. When have I been speechless? Anybody who's listened to this show, when do I ever stop talking? Never. Speechless in Phantom. The bottom line is at $1.42, this layer one is interesting. A couple of our fundamental analysts think trading on Phantom is as frictionless or as easy and cheap as it is on Avalanche. Isn't it funny how Phantom and Near, 2 layer ones that people like, got absolutely pushed out of the bus? They got pushed out of the car while it was moving. So if they want to give you Phantom at $1.42, or if they wick it down below that on any drop in Bitcoin, I just got to think if you're building a layer one portfolio for a January rally in crypto, I got to think Phantom is included in that group. Now, Axia, kind of a new cryptocurrency, very highly rated. A lot of customers searching for this on tokenmetrics.com, our sponsor. Notice how this trade's really strong. Okay. It didn't get anywhere near support during the bear market, during the bear move in Bitcoin. Okay. The level I can draw on the upside is $4.35. So as long as this coin, holds its value, maintains its ranking on the Token Metrics website, which I would encourage you to, sign up for, because there is a low-cost plan that allows you to see the rankings. So check out where Axia is ranked, but it's not an accident that a coin that our AI liked never moved during the decline. Matic. Interesting that we're talking about ETH going up, and interesting that every dip in Matic, a layer 2 solution for ETH, can't stay down on the dip. Now, as I said last week, is this the sexiest coin? No. But it held its value in a debacle and may want to go to 3 if ETH takes off. So we don't know which is going to come first. The ETH takeoff, the Bitcoin decline, and of course, there's the other scenario where, it kind of all goes down together, but we're not going there today. Where we're going is something's going to go up after Bitcoin goes down, or vice versa. Matic could be one of those coins that goes up along with ETH. Now, KDA, sort of an unbelievable pain trade from 0 to 28. So the bulls missed it. And then the bulls try to buy the dip and they get stopped out at 18, 14. And it goes all the way down to the 62% retracement at 11 and wicks down below 10. Now, if this is what the fundamental analysts think it is, I think it should hold 10, right? So I know I just said for all the other altcoins, feel free to pick it up if they're giving it away. So I guess if KDA goes down to 8, you can feel free to grab some. But I'm wondering about people taking profits in this since it went from 0 to 28. So yes, this could definitely be a buy on the dip. It could definitely be in your layer one portfolio. It's just, I think in this case, I would wait for this to have green candles and to prove itself before jumping in. Because from 0 to 28, things can go from 28 to 4 or 6. That's where the rally started from. Okay, Gala. I know there's somebody out there going, God, is he ever going to talk about Gala? Yes, here it is. Okay, 60 cents was like the big level. It broke through. Okay, it smashed back under it, retested 60, and then failed. Sucks. Support I'm showing at 31 cents. So again, this is a classic case. If they're willing to give it to you, take it at a discount. Take it where they're giving it away. Now, let's say the bottom's in. Let's be optimistic for a minute. Let's say the bottom's in. Well, this thing looked just fine above 60 cents a couple days ago. And if a bunch of green candles come in, then, the metaverse narrative is not going anywhere. So you can get involved on the way up. So you can either take it at a discount or jump in when it recovers. Because if the market recovers, you are smart enough to know. You are. And if you need any guidance, you want to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel so you get alerts about when we're going to be on the air. Cube. I thought Cube was interesting at 19. Okay, Mr. Market said, okay, well, if you like it at 19, let's take it down to 13 to just check it. Unbelievable. Okay, somebody was willing to buy this thing at 14. So I know it's a 4-hour chart. So a week from now, month from now, this will be different. Okay. Question is, did you get totally wrecked in this? Yes, it went down, but it's still inside of the range it's been making. So if you're a tokenmetrics.com subscriber, I'm really interested to see where Cube shakes out in the event there's another rally. In other words, does it push back to the top of the rankings? Because RAI does like this go up and go sideways thing. So you don't have to worry about necessarily buying the top. The downside is for your head is that this chopping around stuff drives people nuts. And frequently when people give up, like how many charts have we talked about giving up? Phantom, near. Sometimes when people give up is when you should be grabbing it if it's a good coin trading in a range. Cube could be an example of that. And that is Altcoin Overtime. All right, Forrest, are you out there?
I'm here, Bill.
All right. I know I'm always asking you that. I know you're out there. Why am I doing that? All right. So I believe you've got Menti there, and you're going to take 1 or 2 questions before we sign off.
Sure. So a couple questions here. First one is, do you think ETH can have a blow off top before or instead of Bitcoin? Yes. I mean, that kind of sums up kind of our take on the market today. Maybe Bitcoin does come back. Maybe it does. It's starting to bounce already. It's over 50K right now. Could be a dead cat bounce. Regardless, ETH just looks like the better play, and it has for the last year, for the last over a year. If you take it from December of last year, of 2020, the first 140 days, ETH outperformed Bitcoin by 266%, right? It only has to outperform Bitcoin by another 85% to flip it, right? So yeah, absolutely. I do think that ETH could get the blow off top, even without Bitcoin getting a blow off top this market cycle. Another question on how do you chart DAO coins like Olympus DAO, Wonderland Time, and Climate DAO? What I tell people is look at the market cap. Because they're kind of rebase tokens, you don't really want to chart the price action because they're trying to rebase and they're essentially trying to be stable in some way or another. And the price can be very erratic. You want to pay attention to their market cap. So you can go to CoinGecko, or even you can go to like CoinTrader Pro and plot out their market caps. And you want to be looking at the funds that are coming in. But I'd be a little bit wary. If you have a trading strategy that uses technical analysis, I wouldn't necessarily apply that or try to apply that to some of these rebase tokens like Olympus DAO, Time, Clima, right? It's just they're not going to trade as much on technical analysis. Usually, the strategy you want to go with if you believe in these projects is to just get in and stake. Just get in and stake and earn those high APYs. Next question is, what are your thoughts on the biggest airdrop in history? Richard Hart is forking Ethereum, full system state, meaning everyone will receive a copy of their ERC20 tokens on the new network. I'm honestly not the biggest fan of that. I haven't done a ton of deep research into this project, but so what if they fork, Audius, right? And you get your Audius tokens on the Pulse chain, right? Or it's going to be called Pulse chain. If Audius doesn't decide to do anything with those tokens or continue development on that chain, then it really doesn't do anything for Pulse chain. So I'm just going to stick to Ethereum and not get caught up in hype around a project that's probably not going to see long-term success, at least in terms of people wanting to develop on it. Now, if I see developers go on Pulse chain and a lot of good quality projects and VC money back projects that are being built on Pulse chain, which we're not seeing yet, but if we start to see that, okay, then maybe we'll talk about Pulse chain. But in the state that it's in right now, I'm personally staying away. Are DeFi tokens still a good hold, Alpha, Perp, Siren, or would it be wise to sell them to buy metaverse tokens, even if it implies taking a loss? That's a tough one. I personally still hold my Alpha and Perp. The staking rewards on both are fantastic. Alpha also has a launch pad. So if you're staking your Alpha, you're earning beta tokens, you're earning game or GuildFi tokens, I believe, as well as P-Stake. So there's whatever tokens launch on Alpha's launchpad, you're also earning some of those tokens as well while you're staking. So like Bill was talking about earlier, Perp can just be a simple yield play where you're staking the tokens and you're earning the reward. Now, Perp just did launch their version 2, which is using Uniswap version 3 concentrated liquidity to trade those perpetual contracts. So hopefully we'll see trade volume spike on Perp, which could lead to Perp's price increasing as well. So other than that, we've got a lot of either very, very specific questions or questions that we've already answered. So that's going to wrap it up for us.
All right, folks. Hopefully that was helpful and we can offer guidance all throughout the week. The market update on this channel will be every day for the rest of the year, minus maybe a couple days around Christmas. So we will be here for you. Okay, please like and subscribe to our channel. All right, that's it for today. On behalf of my colleague Forrest, this is Bill Noble from Token Metrics. I will see you tomorrow.